get it.
All right. All right. We are back once again with the craziness. We'll give a few moments for everybody to load into the room. Oh, I think I got something ripping in the background. Hold on one second. That was a little weird. I had music playing just for myself, apparently, in the back of my headphones.
My cell phone, I will be playing a Instagram reel, and I'll answer a phone call, and it'll play through my phone call. I don't even know how this is happening.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm I have to hang up and call the person back. Close Instagram and then.
Right. Hopefully it's a good video. That way you guys can enjoy it. Got the music ripping in the background. Everybody should have a soundtrack. Yeah. Everybody should have a soundtrack. So hopefully everybody has had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week leading up to this particular live. We have the Sister Wives season premiere starting on Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those who are on the East Coast, 9 o'clock Central. And if you're overseas, I'm not sure what they're doing because TLC be dropping the bag. But
I know. And I know with 90 Day Fiance, stuff wasn't appearing on Max. And I'm nervous.
Yeah, you know what? And this is the craziest thing. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'll say it that way. Because I was like, okay, well, they're going to drop the Sister Wives trailer. They dropped the trailers. They're going to run the premiere. It's going to be awesome. But what if they don't run it on TLC? They don't run it on TLC Go. They don't have it on Discovery or Max. And there's a whole swath of people who can't watch it. You know what I mean? It's horrifying because I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't know.
So last season, the talk back, look backs weren't immediately available on Max. They came later, but I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
I see Kathy is saying she doesn't have cable. I don't have cable either. I pay probably $200 or $300 a month in streaming services because I have every single streaming service. I'm about to just go back and have cable all over again.
Right. Because at
this point, I'd be saving money.
Right. And that's the way it kind of worked out for me because I actually, I think you hooked me up with the YouTube TV in order to get it. Mm-hmm. And because before that, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I can't see it. They're not showing it on Max. They're not showing it on Discovery. I have, Discovery is on Max and I have 3 or 4 other channels that show Sister Wives that the streaming services that I'm paying for so I can watch it, make sure I get it. And none of them have it. So I had to go to this one other thing that's crazy expensive. So I don't know.
It's so frustrating. And then some things Bravo is doing stuff that's Peacock exclusive. Real Housewives of Miami only available if you have Peacock.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that's annoying. It's
So
I have to have essentially cable and the app then.
Right. So I got to pay for 2 things because it ain't even with Bravo. They're kind of funny because even if you get cable, Bravo isn't included in basic cable, at least in my area. So you have to go up a package or 2 above in order for you to get the Bravo channels. Yeah. So the only way I get Bravo now, the YouTube TV, I'm able to get Bravo on that, but I'm paying premium prices so that I can have that. The ironic part is that I was doing the 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. And that was the last one I was watching or keeping up with because Angela Dean was on it, mistreating her husband, Michael, which I'm sure I talked about many times on this.
Michael, man.
Yeah, that poor dude.
Seriously.
But they didn't air the tell-all on 90 Day Fiance
so
on Discovery or HBO.
Okay.
Yeah. It was I was like, what are you guys doing? You watch the whole season on HBO or Discovery. Now all of a sudden you can only watch it if you have a premium service.
Yeah. And I will say, at least with Sister Wives, these were specials that they had on cable only or whatever. It wasn't part of the season. I feel that is gypping your customers because like you sold them a bill of goods, like you will have this season, and if that is part of the season, you did not deliver it.
Right. And it's such a ripoff because then you're making them like because you're leaving customers out who
Yeah.
may want to see it. When I went to go watch it, I watch it typically on Discovery, no commercials. So I watch it on
Yeah.
Discovery and or Max, no commercials. Because I have
Mhm.
both of those for some freaking reason. But ironically, there's some things that appear on Discovery Plus that don't appear on Max. So you have to have both in order to be able to keep up with everything that's going on, which is ridiculous. But I went to those, I've watched the whole season, like you said, on Discovery. And then all of a sudden we get to the tell-all. I'm like, where the hell is the show at?
I know.
And
Ugh.
lo and behold, they screwed me over once again. Thanks, TLC. You did it
Yeah.
again. But before we get started on Forbidden Love, because I know folks are chopping at the bit to hear about this foolishness.
Oh
But
my God.
I started watching the Mormon Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Me
Saw
too.
the first episode today. They are a hot damn mess. They're a
Oh.
hot mess.
So I was talking to my husband. We were watching it last night. I think I only have like one episode left because they dropped the entire season at once, which I love.
Right.
But we were watching it and I was like, I have never identified so much with that girl, Demi. Her husband is like 46 and he is always like just there in the periphery, not like interacting really with the drama because he's like, clearly I'm too old to be here and part of these shenanigans. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I am Demi's husband. Like, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah. I wasn't when I first started, I was like, I probably won't do any videos on it. I'm just gonna see what it's about. But as it was going on, there's a few things in that
there's
series
a lot. Yeah.
that really make me want to say something because it's just craziness. It's craziness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think there's a lot to talk about. And I saw Pop Psych was doing some videos on it. So I think that there's a lot of conversation. Was the first episode, did that showcase Taylor's arrest or was that in the second episode?
That was the first one.
Wasn't that? I was like, oh my God, this is like crazy.
Yeah. For those who don't know what we're talking about, one of the swinging talk moms or whatever, tick moms or whatever, mom tacos. Yeah, mom talks. She's dating. She was with her husband and she was swinging. She wound up getting a divorce from her husband. And this is how the whole controversy started because she came out on TikTok and revealed that, they had been doing what she called soft swinging, which is basically supposed to be hooking up or whatever, but not really going all the way.
Is that up to base like 3 if we're talking baseball, but you can't go like all the way? I don't know.
Yeah, you can't round the bases, which I think is kind of bull crap. I don't buy it. I'm an adult. I don't buy that. But okay, whatever. So they do the whole thing. They wind up getting divorced. She, like 3 months out of her divorce, she starts dating another dude who happens to be a recovering addict. And part of his thing is he doesn't want her to drink, but she insists that I'm young, I'm fine, I'm gonna go out and drink. She comes home wasted. The two of them getting like a shouting match that turns physical. The cops show up. They start talking to him, separate, how cops do. They separate everybody to get the story and figure out who they're going to lock up. Because when they come to your house on domestic stuff, somebody leaving in the magic bracelets. And she was the winner. She drew the short straw on it and he took her ass out of there. She was surprised. I was surprised when the cops said it. He did it.
I think because he had scratches on him I think what he had like physical marks. But she is tiny. Like you see her stand next to the other girls. She is itty bitty, and I don't know how tall he is, but he's a guy, so I'm assuming he's probably like at least 5'8", 5'9" ish, or not taller. So it was like, what was she gonna do to you, dude?
Well, you know what? In fairness, it don't matter because they had a one TikTok girl who killed her boyfriend, and he was like 6'4". Good point. And she was like 5 nothing. So
good point.
It can happen.
I take it back.
But when they cops show up and somebody marked up, especially in a situation where she was drunk, He was completely sober. She's slurring her words. She's talking about she peed herself
Yeah.
because she. I mean, like if you drunk enough when you peeing yourself, I'm sorry, you going to jail. When the
It's
cops show up,
it makes it,
you down bad.
you know what I love about this show is that so many of them don't drink, and it's like so taboo to drink, but like they treat like soda as if it were alcohol. Like it's so I found that so funny. Like they talk about I think it was Layla was talking about, "Oh, I know I shouldn't. It's bad for my health, but I just can't help it." And I'm like, "You're talking about they went to Swig, which is it's not even well, it is soda, I guess, but it's like syrup flavors with like fizzy water or
Oh, okay.
something." Yeah.
It's not Coke. Like,
Right. Yeah. Like
like she
I
in
don't
that
know. I
hard
guess we're
stuff. She
talking like
doing
it's
Dr
not
Pepper.
Mountain Dew or
Right.
something.
Right. She going crazy.
Yeah.
She doing the do, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh no. But I mean, at the same time, like how I know they're still trying to hold on to the I'm so sensitive, I'm so fragile, I'm so naive that I'm not really involved with nothing. Oh my goodness, I don't drink alcohol. I'm pushing the boundaries by drinking soda. But then you're screwing your friends' husbands. So, like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
on the spectrum of like weirdness, like the fact that you drinking soda is like way down on my list as
You
far
know,
as like
and
you
it's
stepping
funny,
out.
I'm like, am I secretly a Mormon wife? Because a 44-ounce Diet Coke at 7 AM is something that I do with regularity. So I can relate.
There you go. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. And you're in the house. So, what did you think of? What was your overall impression of Forbidden Love?
I it felt rushed. Like I felt like all of a sudden it's like, okay, everyone's converting. The end. And
Yeah,
they
yeah,
all lived happily ever after.
yeah. It
Except
was
for Chris
almost.
and Lensa.
It was the big wrap up. Like because the whole time they kind of drug some of the episodes they really drug out,
Yeah.
and then it just got to the point where in this last episode it just felt like they were saying, you know what, we have the other bigger shows about to start, so we just gonna have to finish this.
Yeah,
So
like maybe they thought it was gonna go for 10 episodes and they were like, no, we gotta start Sister Wives. So like let's just wrap
right,
this up. Because I felt like there was this weird time jump with Elmer and Lindsay. Like that wasn't like a natural progression at all. It's like all of a sudden the baby is 4 months old and they broke up. And
right.
maybe Elmer cheated, but that's kind of unclear because all she has for evidence is he sent some like winky face emojis or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can get into it. This
Yeah.
is a picture for those who aren't familiar with the show or haven't really watched the show. This is a picture of Elmer and his wife. Who is this? Lindsay. So
Mhm.
Elmer and Lindsay. That's Elmer and Lindsay right there. You know, good looking couple. Clearly they're not together because the way they shot it, they overlaid each other, so that's Photoshop in full effect. As Sarah
Oh, good
mentioned,
I didn't even catch that. Good,
yeah,
excellent call out there, Jay.
yeah, that's Photoshop. They could apparently they could be in the same room together. But
Yeah.
as Sarah intonated, Elmer's the guy who was the Amish person, and he married a woman who is what he refers to as an English person, or somebody who's outside the Amish community. They get married, or technically, he comes over to her house to put a roof on her spot. She sees him, she draws him in, does the whole like wow chicka wow wow, you know, like young guy come over. Hey, would you
Yeah,
like to
like
go
she
upstairs
had
and get
to,
some
like
soda? I guess so. We'll lay on
preyed
my
on him,
covers.
I guess we could say.
Yeah, right. And so they start their relationship. She brings him out of the Amish culture. He gets kicked out. He's getting shunned. He can't go home, can't talk to his family. She marries him. Then she hangs out with him. I guess I don't know how long they were married, but not long after they get married, I think she got pregnant. And then all of a sudden now she's having a baby. Now, here's the weird thing for me.
Mhm.
As Sarah mentioned, they get to the point where they have the baby. Already she complained about him looking at pornography or whatever, because that's cheating. But he goes on a job to put a roof on somebody's house at this neighborhood girl's house who has horses, and apparently she has a bit of a reputation. And he's
As most horse girls do,
right. Well, you know them horse girls,
I have no idea.
right? They ride them ponies, but so they have like a whole thing where she gets upset because he's apparently sending her messages, and he has like smiley faces or whatever emojis, and she assumes automatically that he's cheating, right? And what just based on that, what would your thing be? Like if you saw your husband and he sent a message to somebody and it had like LOL or a emoji, smiley face emoji, would that be the end of your relationship?
No.
Because you're a normal person.
Right. But if it was like, I guess with context, like if it
Right.
was, we were already having like all these trust issues, and then I stumbled upon some messages where I might have some questions, but still, I certainly don't think sending someone emojis via a message is indicative of cheating. I think there is a lot. I think personally, from watching their story this season, that Lindsay wanted to have a baby. I think she's 34.
Right.
So, as women, we have a certain amount of time to make that happen. I think I think she used Elmer to have a baby. I don't think she really had intentions of staying with him. I don't know why she even married him, because she didn't have to marry him to have a baby with him. So,
right.
because like 2 weeks later, in my opinion, it seemed like she found this message and then just blew up on him. When we see throughout the season, she's like berating him about like not brushing his teeth, and he has this porn addiction. She puts a tracker on his car. Like she put parental controls on his phone. Like if she is treating him like a child, I don't think you can really view someone as like an equal or a romantic partner if you view them like a child, or if you're treating them like a child. So I don't think she ever saw long-term potential in him. I think she was just like, this is a convenient way out. And now what's shitty is it seems like he wants to be in the kid's life, and she's like gonna fight him on that. And I hate that.
Right. And that's no. I'll even go a little darker than that, because I think the same thing.
Okay.
But I think that she used him because she wanted to have a baby, but she didn't want to have what was traditionally referred to as an illegitimate child. So she wanted to be married, have a child within the institution of marriage, and then she found a guy whom she could marry and then discard once the baby came out. So once the baby's here, now all of a sudden she can get rid of him because he's not of the world. And so what was ironic to me, and I was me and my wife had this conversation when we were watching the episode. I've known people whose spouse had asked them to do something ridiculous, right? And what I would always say, or what I would always caution when I heard these stories or heard about these requests that these spouses were making, was be very careful, because if you do this, he or she is the type of person who, after you do it, they're going to hold it against you, even though it was their damn idea. In this particular case, Elmer, she went and saw the guy who was from the Amish community. Then you get a baby, you marry him, you get a baby, you want to leave him, and now you want to hold against him that he's from the Amish community. You don't know nothing about kids. You can't watch this child. You can't have custody because you don't know nothing about kids because you're Amish. I'm going to send you divorce papers that I expect you to sign, and you'll sign them because you're Amish. You don't know how this works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what kind of ticked me off. And that, and the fact that he was honestly saying, like, I want my kid to know that I care about her and I want to be a part of her life, and I want 50-50 custody. Oh, you ain't getting that. I'll see you in court. I'll fight you for it.
And he likely has no idea of the English American judicial system and
Right.
what his rights are, what he is legally entitled to. So
I hope he
I
gets a
I
good
don't know if
lawyer.
if he has a prayer, you
Right.
know?
Well, I hope he gets a good lawyer. The one
I
upside
hope
to this
so
whole
too.
thing is that the arguments that she was laying out as to why he can't see the child or why he can't be a part of the child's life or why he can't have custody. I want full custody. Good luck
Mhm.
with that shit. Because at the end of the day, you can't go to a judge and say that my partner doesn't know, he doesn't have any experience with children because they don't have a checkbook at the courthouse and say, like a parental grading system that determines whether you can have visitation or custody of your children. Because
Yeah,
you don't have kids, you don't know nothing about kids till you have kids. I don't care if you babysit
fact.
kids.
Yeah.
It's baby watching a child and being responsible for a child is two totally different damn things.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So like a lot of the arguments she made, I don't think she's going to get a lot of traction. If the baby, like the best thing she could do possibly is if the baby is being breastfed, she might be able to make an argument there. But then again, at the same time, you could be asked to pump and prepare
Mhm,
bottles, get the child on a bottle, take him off the breast, or he can do the breast and bottle, and therefore he
mhm,
can get custody. And you just have to prepare bottles for him. You want the child to be on, breast milk and
mhm.
not formula, then you gonna have to make bottles. You have to
And I
pump.
just had a thought too because, I my son is 16 months old. So I remember like postpartum pretty well. 2 weeks postpartum is like you are in the thick of your body's a mess and
Mm,
your emotions are a mess. I remember when I had my son, I had hair extensions at the time, which I noticed Lindsay got herself some hair extensions. So I noticed where she's making her financial priorities. She lives in like a tiny home, but she's getting herself hair extensions. But anyways,
right.
I had hair extensions at the time and I needed to take them out because I just wasn't gonna maintain them. And I had to make an appointment to do that, and I started sobbing. I remember I was outside on my back patio. I was probably about 2 weeks postpartum, because I was just like, I couldn't handle the thought of, like, having to go do that. It was just, like, too much. So, like, Lindsay, you see a text message or whatever, and you see some of now, was it like a kissy face emoji? Was it a smiley winking face? Like, what face was it? If it was just a smiley face, you know, I don't know. I'm just the thought just occurred to me that, like, somebody should have been around her to be like, "Girl, address, like, the whole big picture here because things get real muddy postpartum."
Right. Right. Well, I mean, because the whole thing is that I can appreciate if she was undergoing postpartum depression and this is something that she's going through. But what's weird to me is that she accused him of cheating, right? And if at the end of their story it would have came out and they would have said, uh, after their divorce had started going through, Elmer had started seeing little horse girl, and they've
Mhm.
formed a relationship and they've been dating for 2 months or whatever. Then I'd be like,
Mhm.
yeah, that rat bastard, he was he was
Right.
out there
Yeah.
creeping at the around the ranch.
Yeah.
But she was the one who turns around all of a sudden she's dating somebody. So what it struck me as is that she was out there doing her thing up until the time that she hit about 33, going wild, doing whatever, dating these guys in and out. None of the guys wanted to marry her, give her a baby. So she felt that clock running. So she found Elmer, married Elmer, had a baby with him. Then she dumps him. Then she goes right back to the type of guy that she was dating before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's that
Yeah.
that's just the spidey sense that I had,
Yeah. I agree.
you know. But Melissa, Bad Horse said, Mr. Bad Horse. Oh, one of them horse girls. Okay. I I dated an Amish man. One, they all have bank accounts. Two, they most certainly do know about attorneys and reading
Oh,
contracts.
okay.
My Amish man I dated is from Holmes County, the largest Amish community in the USA. Okay. Okay. So hopefully I mean,
Well,
if
thank you for educating us, because I naively assumed that he didn't know about the birds and the bees. So
right, right. Well, I would even take it a step further though, because I would even say that, you know, I was concerned about it because I just don't want to see him get screwed over. I want to see if a
yeah,
father wants to be a part of their child life, let them be a part of their child life. If a mom wants to be a part of their child's life, let them be a part of their child's life. As long as they're not a danger to the child, or they're going to do something to mentally, physically, or God forbid, sexually,
mm,
abuse that child. Let them have that time with that child because it only benefits the child. Even in a scenario, and I know this is hurtful, but even in a scenario where he may have had infidelity, or there was infidelity in a relationship, he cheated on you. He didn't cheat on the baby.
mhm.
He, messed the family up for sure. But I don't think he was. I just don't have that gut instinct that he was cheating. I mean, maybe he was on his way to cheating, but I don't think he cheated.
Yeah.
You know. But what do you think about? Did you have anything else to say about Lindsay and Elmer?
No, it's sad because,
Right.
I mean, with Chris and Lensa, it's like it's entertaining because
Mm,
I mean, the stakes are so low. Like
right. Right.
they there's like nothing, they're not risking anything in this, so it's fine, whatever. It's a messy breakup, but um with Elmer and Lindsay, it's sad because at the end of the day, there's a child
Yeah.
involved. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They're fighting over the child, so it's not even a
Yeah.
clean break. There's a
Yeah.
there's a child president. We're going to be, and this is the weird part because the whole time Lindsay had criticized Elmer for being childlike and being naive, but at the end of the day, she also has a huge streak of immaturity because she hasn't gotten herself around to the idea that she's going to have to figure out how to co-parent with this man.
Yeah.
you know. And the first rule is, I don't want to be an ass about it, but the first rule is if you don't like a dude or you don't like a young lady, you don't like how they running, you don't like how they moving, don't make babies with them. Certainly don't do it on purpose. Don't make children with them. If you
And
can't,
for the age gap, she seems a whole heck of a lot more immature to me
right,
than he does.
right. Which would also, this is kind of one of those 90 Day Fiance scenarios for me, because every now and again on 90 Day Fiance, you see exactly why these people have to go overseas to try to find love. You
Yeah.
know, this is why they have to use that citizenship, chit to hold over your head the whole time, like Occam's razor, because
Yeah, for sure. Mhm.
yeah, because there's no way that they have maturity enough to be able to get somebody on their own.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned Lena and Chris,
Oh,
Linsa and
Linda and
Chris.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, Linsa and Chris. This is Linsa and Chris. He is a what is he, a Pentecostal Christian, and she is a Muslim,
Yeah. Yes.
and their relationship blew up in spectacular fashion because
Fireworks.
right, fireworks, explosion, C4. Apparently, Chris, he gets in his car and he drives, all the way from, where was he in? Ohio, Cleveland,
Yeah.
Ohio,
Yeah.
all the way out to where she is. I think she's in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken.
Michigan, I think.
Michigan.
Some
Okay.
somewhere.
Detroit. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
drives to Detroit to
Yeah.
be with her, gets an apartment. He's moving in. The night he's moving in, she reveals to him that she talked to her parents. Now she's Muslim, and she said that her parents didn't approve because he wasn't yet a Muslim. So they
Mhm.
didn't approve of that union. So she tells him that she doesn't know what she's going to do, da da da. At some point, she goes to leave, and when she leaves, she turns around, comes back, and he's there texting somebody, DMing somebody. We talked about it last week. And he's telling this person that he's DMing, according to him, that he has a girlfriend and he's not interested. He's not available in talking to her. Lindsay sees it and she loses her mind. She's cussing him out the whole way. Like, because before she was like, I got a
Well, my
random
favorite
young.
thing is when she called him a thought.
Yeah, right. You
That's
thought.
still my favorite bird.
Like, what the hell? Like, just calling them stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So she blasted him out. And then he follows after her. He's trying to explain. He's offering his phone. He's trying to offer an explanation. She doesn't want to hear any of it. She absolutely refuses to talk to him, tells him that she doesn't want to see him anymore. They break up and they drive off. What did you think about that particular situation?
I felt so bad for her friend that came and picked her up because the friend was just like, like, it's here. Sorry. Um, I think I will say I kind of see what Chris. First of all, I absolutely believe that Chris probably was like messaging inappropriate things. Because you can absolutely just not respond to a text or a DM, right?
Right.
Like you could just not open it. Um, so why are you even messaging in the first place? Like with Elmer, it's like this person was a client, like
Mhm.
so that's different. But if you're just like responding to your DMs on social media, like why are you even doing that?
Right.
So I believe he was probably up to no good. I also agree with him though, saying I think because her parents had such a negative reaction, I think she was probably looking for a way out probably at that point.
Right. Right.
I could definitely see that because
Right.
she got real. I think part of her anger was Chris, but I think part of her anger that she laid onto Chris was probably feelings she was feeling towards her parents.
Mhm. Yeah, because I mean I could see that,
Mhm.
but it just came off to me that like it was overblown. Like if you feel like somebody is doing something to you and you've had enough, or you catch somebody doing the wrong thing, like you don't have to blow up like that. Like she took it way, like as far as I'm concerned, she was way out of bounds. Like you just hollering and screaming. He's like, "Look, let's talk to you. I'll show you my phone. I ain't looking at your phone. Like you
Yeah.
don't even want to look at what you said. You're accusing me of. You won't even allow me to provide evidence that I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So at that point, how vested in this situation are you? You know what I mean? Because if you
Yeah.
won't even listen to me explain anything, then if you don't care enough to listen, then you just don't care.
And I don't know
There's
if
just somewhere
they
you don't want to
told
be.
us, but I'm interested to know, like, because she is divorced twice. When
Right.
did her last marriage end? Is this her first relationship after that marriage? Did she date anyone in between? Because it, the um it clearly was an overreaction, and I just have a feeling that she probably experienced infidelity in a prior relationship, at least the one right before Chris, maybe both of them, I don't know. But
Mhm.
so I think she has just like I think she has a hair trigger for that kind of stuff, and it's just she's like, nope, I know the signs that this is what you were doing,
Right, right. Well, I mean, or weird enough, I kind of get the feeling that she, this might be why she got divorced twice because
maybe maybe
sometimes,
the guys are like, oh, I don't know, man, like
oh hell no, yeah, like she go bananas every time something happens. Who you looking at? Like, why are you talking to that girl? That's the waitress. I was just telling her what I wanted to eat.
yeah.
Well, you don't be talking to her. You talk to me, I'll tell her. Like, calm down. Like, so I don't know. It just struck me real weird. And then
Yeah.
of course we see her go back to her parents and she tells her dad that he was right, that she should only marry a Muslim guy that apparently he hooks her up with. But they did it twice already because both those marriages were arranged.
And
So
I wonder, like, if Chris is willing to convert, were her parents, but we never meet her parents, so we
right,
don't know. But like, is their thing the fact that he's not Muslim, or is it that they didn't arrange it? Because her previous two marriages were arranged marriages. If is the problem that she is out finding partners for herself? Is that what they really have a problem with? I
right.
wonder.
I think
I
it was both. I think it was
Yeah.
they were upset that she was kind of going her own way,
Yeah.
demonstrating some independence,
Yeah.
like that level of independence. And they didn't like that or didn't approve of that because they didn't know who Chris was. And
Yeah.
that also presents a problem because at the end of the day, you know, for parents, it's about the presentation. So if you are dating somebody and you present that person on a backhand way, or, I hate to say it, but Cosby and on the Cosby Show had the best example of this. There was a guy who was supposed to be dating one of his daughters, and he
Mhm.
was an older guy and he was a maintenance man, and uh, at the college that she was attending, and he was significantly older than she was.
Mhm.
And Bill Cosby said, "Well, you think that I have a problem with you because you're an older guy and you're a maintenance man. That's not the problem. What I have a problem with is how she presented you. When she brought you here, do you like steak?" He said, "Oh, I love steak." He said, "Okay, now imagine a nice big steak and it's on a plate, and then they take and put some onions and mushrooms, and they have like the sides and mashed potatoes, all that, and it's all beautiful, and they take it and put it on the lid of a trash can and hand it to you. That
Mhm.
wouldn't be appetizing to you. And the way that she presented you to us, you're on top of a trash can." And I think that with Chris, that's the exact way that Linza was presenting him to her parents,
Yeah.
because she had already been out to see him in Cleveland, and she stayed out there and she was visiting him. She visited with him a couple times out there in Cleveland. Like, they might not even know where she was going. Now all of a sudden, this is your boyfriend, and you guys are talking about getting married, and I have no idea who this dude is. And then come
Mhm.
to find out, on top of it, he's not even a Muslim. You know what I mean? So it's like thing after thing after thing. It's just the
Mhm.
presentation, I think, might have stalled her out too.
I have a feeling her family is sick of her shenanigans.
Right, right.
Why do
Hey,
I have a feeling that she is a shenanigan attracting person?
right, right. You're like, she ain't never moving out. She ain't never leaving. Um, the next people, let's talk about the actual two success stories, as it turns out, from ironically enough, the two success stories from the show. First, we could talk about my man Eli and Lori. This
Mhm.
is Eli and Lori, good looking couple, both of them. Um,
Can you believe he's only 5'4"? Like,
yeah, I believe it.
but
I believe it.
she must be real tiny because
Yeah,
she's a few inches shorter than he is.
yeah. I think she said she's pushing like 5'1", maybe 5'2"
So
at
that's
best.
perfect. Perfect
Yeah,
couple.
yeah. Because that's why he said he liked her, because she's a woman that didn't make him feel small. Because if you see him next to his car, like, I'm familiar with the coupe that he had, the
Oh,
Mercedes coupe.
really?
And the fact that he's like eye level with the top of the car, yeah, he's a short brother. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Good things come in small packages, fun
You know,
size and all that. It
yeah.
is what it is. I'm not hating on him. His wife is beautiful, so good for Eli. uh, but they were actually able to convert uh
She passed
Lori.
her test.
Lori, yep, she passed her dang on test, and this was a big concern. And I was actually happy because she confirmed for me something that I always kind of felt about Lori in my gut, that she had always kind of dismissed her conversion to Judaism as something she was doing for Eli,
Yes,
to
I
marry
agree.
him.
Mhm.
And I could tell from her response that it was actually something that she wanted for herself. Like, she might have started out doing it for Eli, but it was something that along the way she started to really take to. And she got real comfortable with the idea of becoming Jewish. And she really started to adapt to it. And she was just afraid that she wasn't going to be able to do it. And so that way, if oh, it's about me and Eli. That way, if she fails a test, then it's like, oh, damn, I'm crying not because I'm not a Jew. I'm crying because I can't be with Eli, and that's why I'm so upset.
Yeah, I actually I completely agree with you, and I had a new appreciation for her journey because I think, like, where she was at, she was raised Catholic, she lost her dad, terrible tragedy, and she became really disillusioned, and she kind of lost her way, like, she rejected religion. And it seems like she found Eli, she found her sobriety, and now it seems like from the conversation that she was having with Rabbi Block, it seemed like she was crediting a higher power with that journey. And she recognized God at play there. And so that was like the reason behind her conversion. And in that respect, I'm like, I'm totally for it.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
The rabbi on the way to the church, he was a little spicy, but
okay, if anyone wants to know what it was like when I learned how to drive, my mom is Rabbi Block when someone is driving.
Like, make a left. What are you doing?
Traumatized. Oh my God. And because they're also driving in LA. So I'm like, oh my God, this is hysterical to me. I loved it. Why can't he drive? Was he hurt or something?
I guess. I hope he was hurt. It wasn't like a legal thing. Like, oh, rabbi can't drive because But I thought it was cool. Like I kind of get his personality just from the respect that he comes off like he's mean spirited, but he's not really. Like he's not really a mean spirited person. I just think that's kind of how he carries himself.
Rabbi.
Yeah, he's just a little. He has dry humor. Like he has very dry humor.
Yes.
But the last of the groups that we'll talk about on this, and we'll close out this particular Forbidden Love. The last of them is actually my man Muhammad and Ashley. This is them there. This is also Photoshop, as you can tell. But
oh, look, and we could peer out the side.
Right. Like, hello, everyone. But yeah, so they're on their way for her to become a Muslim. Say the Shahada. Is it the Shahada for her? I think it's the Shahada. But they're on their way for them to do the commitment ceremony for her to become a Muslim. Awesome. Then they get there and they're on their way. She's crying and she wants him to stop. He gets upset with her. And the part I didn't like about it was the pressure that he was putting on her to join or become a Muslim. Like, I didn't care for that. But she did say something that I thought was very interesting and very telling. She said that I just want you to understand that if I do this, I'm still going to be me. So this isn't going like I'm going, even though I'm a Muslim now, I'll be prospectively a Muslim. I'm still going to be who I am. So it's not going to all of a sudden you can start telling me that you're going to bring home another wife or whatever foolishness that you have planned. I'm still going to be who I am. And I thought that was a very poignant point that she made. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, that's interesting to say, but it's like, yeah, you're gonna be you, but Muslim. So like, don't say, because I've had friends in interfaith relationships where they're like, okay, I'll convert, but like, I don't mean it or whatever. It's like, okay, if you're doing that just to appease him, but you have no intention, then why bother?
Right.
If you're just like going to go through the motions. Right. And that's what they were trying to suss out with Lori. It's like the rabbi and Eli's mom is like, don't do this unless you want to do this and you want to convert to Judaism. Don't do this for Eli. Don't do this for any other reason than this is a calling you have to do. And it's clearly Ashley would have never done this unless it was for Muhammad.
Right. Well, I don't know, because when she cried, because when she said the Shahada and she cried, like I felt like that was something that she felt. Like I think that is something she felt.
I also appreciated the fact that she called out that she wanted her whole family to be of one religion. Like she wanted her and her daughter to have the same faith. And I thought that was, you love when parents take their kids into consideration. We don't see that every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was cool. But like the one thing, like I just don't want her to feel like she was pressured into doing it because he thought that if she was this same religion, it would be a source of control
Yeah.
that he could a lever of control that he could pull. Like, well, now you're Muslim, you got to do this, or now you're Muslim, you got to do that. So
But
hopefully she has some good influences as far as
yeah,
that's concerned.
but with now, and like with any religion, I think there's varying degrees of observance.
Mhm.
So did they so that's a good question. Did they have a conversation about what she is willing to observe as far as customs, like dress codes and things like that, because she wasn't willing to do any of that before? Like, what is he expecting?
Right.
When
No, I'm sure
she
they
is
did have that
converting?
conversation
Yeah.
because not long after that, anytime that they filmed after she actually went through the process, she had on the headgear and she had on the other
Yeah.
garb. So I
Yeah.
think that that was part of her change or her transformation.
Okay.
But I think it was something that she was willing to accept for
Yeah.
herself, which is a subtle difference. It's one thing for him to insist on it. It's another thing for her to say, "This is something that I want to do because this is something I feel is in accordance with my religion." And they kind of had that conversation too about like some of the boundaries of their faith with that older couple who were from the church where
Mhm.
they were talking about it. So
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, I know Muhammad, he seemed kind of rock-headed in that respect, but
Mhm.
hopefully he takes a page from what they're trying to tell him. Like as older people, especially elders in the church,
Mhm.
if they're telling you something or they're giving you guidance, take that guidance, take that advice, and you don't necessarily have to follow it to the letter like a dog, but at the same time, just understand that they've been through some things, they understand things, they very well may know more about living the faith and living life more than you because they have experience, you
Mhm.
know. So that's kind of where I was. But did you have any things else to say about before Forbidden Love before we get into Sister Wives?
No, I enjoyed this season. I thought the finale was kind of rushed. Some
Yeah.
storylines, it was like I felt like, okay, we just threw that together. Like Ashley and Muhammad, I felt like it was like all of a sudden it was like, okay, guys, we're wrapping up. We need you to convert now. Thank you. Like, did we solve anything? I don't think so, but
Right.
okay.
Well,
I would
because I
watch
think
a second season. What about you, James?
well, I think that it's I think I do agree that they shut it down. I'll be surprised if they run a second season just because of the way they
Oh,
ended it. So it
yeah.
might be they're looking for something because TLC has become a little more of a spice channel. Like they look for a lot more of the like trouble and problems. We saw a lot of that. As a for instance, we saw a lot of that with Seeking Sister Wives. There were a couple families who were a little more solid, and then after like the second season, they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to film you guys anymore because you are cussing each other out, you are
Yeah.
yelling, you ain't throwing
You're
stuff.
not
So
playing ball the way we
yeah,
want
this ain't working for us.
you. Yeah.
We need somebody who's going to cheat on the sister wives that he has, like you know what I mean. So they get the one
Mhm.
guy, I forget his name, Larry or something, the short black guy. He was cheating on his wives, sister wives, and he wanted babies all over the world. So
Oh, was that the guy that was like the mayor of
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Oh, what was
Yeah,
his
he said he wanted babies all over the world, so he would go
Yeah.
to different places and try to make kids.
Yeah.
And he had like 10 or 12 kids, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, with a bunch of women. So it lose I won't say loser, but he was a weirdo. He was certainly a weirdo. But so we get into Sister Wives. This is episode 9 for those that know. I messed up the thumbnail by putting episode 8, but it's actually episode 9. And in this episode, the Brown family goes out to Boston,
Mhm.
Massachusetts.
Mhm.
So they Cambridge actually. So they're actually out in Cambridge where Harvard and Tufts and the big Ivy League schools and the little Ivies are located, and they're going to be part of a panel discussion to speak about faith with the as Cody said, they're going to speak about their faith with academics and students, and so that they can
Mhm.
give their perspective. So he's kind of big time in it, big foot in it, saying that he's going to be speaking to academics on that level, where
Yeah.
he's going to be sharing his thoughts on polygamy.
Mhm.
Uh, so one of the things that stuck out, they said that when asked what do you guys hope to get out of this panel discussion different from the stereotypes that most people have, preconceived notions and a sense of hostility that they plan to get from the people that they talk to. So they're trying to conquer all the stereotypes that people have, and they're trying to
Mhm.
cut through all the hostility. What did you think about like the fact that they're being invited to have these discussions? Because again, this is still a little early in the Sister Wives series, the Sister Wives storyline. So what did you think about that?
I thought it was like I thought there was noble intentions probably behind it. Like, hey, wanting to kind of expose especially academia
Mhm.
to polygamy as they know it or how they feel they live it, because certainly and especially in this time, the what we knew of polygamy was Warren Jeffs, and
Right.
not great, notwithstanding, fast forward, there's a whole lot more similarities between the Browns version of polygamy and even Warren Jeffs version of polygamy than they like to admit
Admit.
to.
Right.
But um so I think that that is like why they went in and had these conversations. But the thing that like always has irritated me is that, and I can't even speak like I would be speaking on behalf of like the queer LGBTQIA plus community, but it has to be so frustrating to have Cody constantly like comparing their lifestyle choice
Mm.
to being gay or queer or whatever. Like, for them, he loves to equate those things like, we want freedom to love who you love. So you love who you love and we'll love who we love. But like, it's not the same thing. like,
Right. Right. Right.
like
Right. I see what you're
in
saying.
my opinion, Cody and the Sister Wives are absolutely making choices.
Right.
People are not making choices when with their sexual identities.
Right. Right. Their orientation and who they're
Right,
attracted to.
exactly.
Something you're born with, as opposed to something that, because even with the decision on who you marry and when you marry them is a choice. It's not. It's not something like I'm compelled to do this. It's something
And
that you
Cody, this
decide to
wasn't
do.
even your
So,
religion until you were
like
like
18,
20.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. He was about 20 because he was 18 and 19 when he went away on his
yeah,
missions. And then he got back, and that's when his mom had revealed that this is what they did. And that's when he did the whole conversion,
yeah,
joined the AUB church.
yeah,
So I agree. Like, I think that, like, the weird part is that there's a couple things that I don't like about the panel discussions. And I mean, we can get into the specifics of the panels in a little bit, but the one thing that I don't like is, like you said, like you make a really good point about the comparing yourself to what everybody considers to be alternative lifestyles
right.
and the LGBTQ plus community. I agree with that, but the other thing that kind of twerks me a little bit is when they always roll out Warren Jeffs. Like, if you want to talk about who you are, stop comparing yourself to Dan Warren Jeffs. Stop bringing him up at all. You
Yeah.
understand what I mean? Like, because at some point
Don't
you're
tell
kind
me
of doing
you're
it to
not
yourself.
him. Tell me who you are.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I always hear with them. And they always have the oh, I feel so bad about the situation, and as it turns out that the way he treated everybody, and I just want to punch him in the face because I feel so bad about it. But then at the same time, do you really? Do
Yeah.
you really? You know what I mean? Because if anything, I may not know, the general public may not have known about the other sex of polygamy that abuse people, but you guys do.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
you know and if you're going to say that you're a vanguard of truth and you oppose this, you should have said, look, you guys are all talking about Warren Jeffs. There are other sects out here way worse than him, but we're not part of any of them. To me, that's you putting it on Front Street, telling people where you are and what you're not dealing with. as opposed to you just kind of, what do you guys know about? This is that point where, like you said about the dude on the phone, like your girlfriend asks you, what are you up to? What do you know? Like, because I'll only answer those
I
questions.
love
Like,
that.
I'll only address the
Well,
stuff
well, you
you
tell
bring
me
up.
first
Right.
what you think I did, and I'll tell
Right,
you if I did
exactly.
it.
And I'll come up with my alibi from there, but I'm not going to just shotgun it. Like, no. So I think that that's kind of where they are because every time they say something about Warren Jeffs, that's the feeling I always get, that
Yeah.
they're kind of hiding something back and they're trying to hide and conceal. But but during the course of I guess we could jump right into the conversation at the panel. Um, or let's talk about a little bit before prior to the panel. One of the people had asked, how do you feel, and just for those who may not remember, when the sister wives, so you have Robin, Cody, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, and in addition, you had Logan, Mariah, Aspen. Well, I guess technically it wasn't Mariah, Leon.
But
So you
yeah.
had Logan, Leon, Aspen, and Madison. Sorry for the dead name. But they went along too. And at this time, they were 17, 16, 16, and 15. Madison was the youngest. Obviously, Logan is the oldest. And they're all sitting around a table. And this is a pre-conference, pre-panel dinner where they get to meet some of the students, and they talking to I think her name is Lauren, and they're talking to her about what they can expect the next day. And a question comes up, and a young man asks, how do you feel about alternative lifestyles? Or the young lady asks this question, and she throws out like some different, lifestyles. And she mentions polyandry, which is
Mm,
essentially the opposite of polygamy, where
right.
you have multiple husbands instead of multiple wives.
Mhm.
Madison, or no, I'm sorry, yeah, Madison, she says, uh, they joked about being down for that. And of course, Aspen said that she was down for it. And then she said, but I'm not allowed to say anything about it. And at that point, Cody, Christine, and Robin made it a point to say that they were not in a position to make decisions for themselves when it comes to these type of lifestyles. They're
Mm,
not in that position. So they want them to be adults first. And even was it Christine said they have to be adults to do what they want to do. Adult, and then at that point, Robin looks over, adults, baby, adults. Then you get to choose. Of course, Cody said he believed in choice and their opportunity to choose or their ability to choose. Um, so what did you think about like that initial response? Because there's some little more to it, but what did
Well,
you think
it's
about that
funny
initial part?
because, okay, Madison, you can't say that you would do multiple like husbands, but Leon is sitting there saying they have every intention on being a sister wife. So that was cool though.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
No one had a problem with
Exactly.
that.
Right, exactly. And that was one of the things that is for me is hypocrisy or
Yeah.
hypocritical because as mentioned, when they first started talking or presented with the idea of polyandry, having multiple husbands, if we recall back in season 1, when Cody went away to Mexico with Mary, and Mary had presented him with the idea. They were sitting at dinner, and Mary was wearing that flower dress, and they're sitting there looking at each other's eyes. And Mary was talking about the attention and neglect that she was receiving from Cody at the time. And she
Yeah.
said, well, how would you feel if I had another husband?
Mhm.
And he looked her in the face and said, that would be disgusting. Or what did he say? He said, it would be,
Vulgarity or
yeah, it
something.
would be vulgar to me. Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
vulgar. The thought
Yeah.
of it would be vulgar,
Yeah.
he was opposed to it. And all of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe that he's Mr. Open Minded and everybody get to make a choice. It's a vulgar decision.
Mhm.
What also struck me is that at the same time they say that, uh, Janelle, during one of the couch meetings, said that when talking about this issue, said that there are a lot of tenets in each religion. Like some have restrictions on food, some have restrictions as far as who you can date. In this particular case, they have a principle which allows them to have multiple wives and a husband. And so they don't necessarily approve of it. It struck me though that you guys are not open to other religions. You're not open to those other facets, because if there was somebody that walked in with 4 husbands and a wife, you guys would be turned off by that. It would be revolting to you and unnatural.
Mhm.
Ironically, there are people who are monogamous who look at polygamous and say that that is unnatural. And
Right.
that goes against the tenets of their religion. So, what did
Right.
you think about like that little
Well, and it's like, was it sitting there where there was that guy that was, um, he said, "I'm gay, and I was worried about how you guys would receive me," and Christine was like, "Oh my gosh, like we're the same. Like,
right,
we get judged and blah blah blah." And it's like, "No, you're not the same." But
right,
okay. Um, but yeah, so it's just interesting because I don't think that there is so much hypocrisy that they want to pretend that they're so open-minded, or in order to get people to accept them, but they really have no intention of accepting other people.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. And that was even illustrated when the because I like to bring receipts. That was even illustrated when you talk about them going to the evangelical church in Las Vegas to find out if they could have their kids participate in the youth organization at a different denomination's church. Both Christine and
Right.
Robin lost their collective shit when
Yeah.
it was proposed that the kids could actually go play with some other kids who are of a different denomination. It's not even like you had them playing of kids with kids of a completely different faith. Everybody in the room believes in Jesus. It's just that,
Yeah.
do you believe in the principle and maybe different like aspects of it? You call it heaven a different thing, but it's all roughly about the same place. So
Yeah.
that wasn't necessarily true. Robin even went on to say something to the effect of, uh, "What kind of Christians will we be if we didn't accept anyone who comes close to us?" you know and I thought that that was hilarious because that again, it just like everything that they say in this show at this point, they make a point, and then you can always go back in previous episodes and see the counterpoint of exactly the opposite of what they're saying they
Exactly.
would
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. For
you
sure.
know
Yeah.
at this point, there's enough meat on the bones, like, so it's kind of sad. um the Harvard fellow asked, is there an intimacy? Oh, non-sexual. And he made it a point because again, they're having a question and they're having this academic discussion on whether they understand, uh, like, is there for the sister wives, do you guys have a connection, non-sexual, but do you have a connection with each other that, overrides just like normal friendship? Is at a certain level of intimacy? And of course, the Brown family had to turn it into a dirty joke about how they don't sleep with each other.
We don't
But
go weird.
yeah, we don't go weird. But then at the same time, they're talking about the panel. We don't want to talk about our sex lives again. But that Robin's sister wife relationship. So when Robin described the sister wife relationship is something that anybody in the world would understand unless they have it for themselves.
Mhm.
And we see a lot of times throughout the series and a lot of the episodes where Robin will jump out and she'll try to speak for the group about what it is like to be a sister wife, what are the expectations of being a sister wife. When you hear that kind of thing from Robin, what
Mm.
do you think? What goes through your mind when you hear Robin defending like what it's like to be a sister wife as an authority? What is expected of a sister wife? Speaking from an authoritative position and what she wound up doing to the family.
Well, I think she could speak on it in her experience of having grown up in polygamy to some extent, even though kind of not really, because like she never lived in like a combined household. But as far as like being a sister wife, like she really never had that it was like the friends that we met last, was it last episode, Andy and Nicole, who, yeah, they went to their church, but they weren't practicing polygamy. So, she was part of the church, but she never was a sister wife before, like, yesterday.
Right, right. And she's around people who are living the principle, like in that
Mhm.
particular family, like you said, with the couple that came over last week or
Mhm.
in that previous episode. They know people who are living the principle, but they don't know what it's like to be in the principle.
Mhm.
In this particular case, Robin has said that you won't know what it's like until you live it. And part of me, every time she says stuff, I said it in my video that just premiered earlier. But I said, every time she comes off like an authority, the one thing that always rings in the back of my head is like, lady, you just got here. How do you know anything? Like,
Down, new girl.
right. Settle down, Johnny Appleseed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? let the OGs talk about it. This isn't your place to talk. Let them talk about what it's like to be a sister wife, because they've been doing it for better than a decade at that point. They've been doing it like 15, 20 years at that point. So let them talk about what it's like to be a sister wife, because you don't know.
And
You know what I
how
mean? You certainly don't know
frustrating.
jealousy.
And how frustrating. And this is why the kids, like, didn't like her. Like, she's coming in and throwing her weight around about, like, marriage, about parenting, and it's like, you did not parent these kids, and now you're trying to tell Janelle and Christine that these kids shouldn't go to this youth group that's of a different denomination than the AUB. Like, this is why, these are the reasons why the kids don't have an affinity for you.
Right, right. This is what you did. So when you ask that question, I don't understand. This is why.
Yeah, exactly.
Exhibit A. Exhibit A. Um, of course, during that meeting, the pre dinner, Logan gets invited for ice cream. Of course, he takes he takes him up on it. Uh,
Can't pass
they
up ice cream.
right, yeah, that dude is a ice cream fanatic. Like, you got Logan. Like, a good thing there ain't no weirdos driving around in box vans offering kids ice creams, because they would have had Logan. Yeah. Um, when asked if they wanted to blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So Logan gets asked about the ice cream. The kids go off and they have a meal with the students, and they're talking. And of course, they ask the question about, like, who wants to do polygamy. Madison, Aspen, no bueno, Leon. At that time, she was all about the life. Uh,
Mhm.
um, they go to was it state local? Oh, one of the things that really struck me, because during the conversation, uh, Logan really got into the idea of having these conversations, with these intellectual conversations with these college students, and he was all about that life, like that kind of discourse, which I can respect. And one of the things that really struck me during that conversation was they started asking about, like, where do you plan on going to college, and do you plan on going to Harvard? And they're asking the kids this, and Logan gave the most responsible answer,
I know.
because because the parents are joking around like, I would love for my kids to go to Harvard, to be amazing to go to Harvard or
Yeah,
Tufts or one of these big time Ivy League schools. But Logan started thinking about the dollars and cents, and he said that he would go to a local college, a state college, or even a community college, because he realizes that it's about the finances. It's not just about the grades to get in, but it's kind of far away, one, but two, it's about the money. So
what
what
did
did you
he
think
say?
about
Like,
that?
a college education's a college education.
And I don't disagree. He's right.
He
He's right.
is Janelle's son through
Right.
and through.
Right. So what did you think about that? What did you think about that?
Oh, I just love that. I uh, especially these early seasons, I thoroughly enjoy um when the kids get featured. I loved
Hmm.
that the kids kind of had their own panel discussion up there, giving their takes. I would love to have, like, a kids look back on some of these
Right.
early like if we have Logan, Leon, Aspen, and Madison sit down and look back on this episode, I would love to have their take on this.
Right, right. Well, especially because Logan works at UNLV now. But I would say this: if TLC, if you take that idea from Sarah, make sure you pay them damn kids, get them some
Oh,
money,
for
take
sure.
them off some change.
Yeah.
Don't let them do that for free. Okay,
Yeah. Pay the kids.
them days is over. They
Just
long gone.
don't leave McKelty out.
Right, right.
She's been left out enough.
Right. She'll cry. But one of the things that really struck me when he said that, I couldn't help but to think that not only is he very much Janelle's kid, right? That's Janelle's child
Mm,
because he thinks like Janelle. And I think that a big reason as to why he thinks that way is because he grew up in a household where his mom was the steward of the finances for the Brown family.
right.
So
Yeah.
he understood that what money they actually have.
Yeah.
Whereas the other people were just kind of operating on a thing of if I see it, I want it, I should have it. He's operating, okay, you see it, you want it, but where is the money coming from? And so that's why I really respect the idea. I respect and admire the idea that he understands that an education is as good or as valuable as you make it. So if you put the effort into it, that education can be strong, whether you go to community college or Harvard or any Ivy League school, just because 1 + 1 is 2, no matter which school or campus you're standing on. So,
Absolutely.
and the only difference is that when you graduate, what kind of student loan debt you're going to be.
Exactly. And if you're going to it, especially, and I wish that I had these kinds of conversations when I went to state school. So my brother went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, like
Wow. Okay.
very prestigious music school because he's a fabulous musician. But when you're talking about, when I was going to school, it was you're going to college, you're going to college, not everybody has to go to college. When my mom when I say that, she like loses her mind because she's like, oh my God, do not tell my grandkids they don't have to go to college. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Mom, what I want to do is I want to have a conversation and nurture what my kids want to be when they grow up. Let's
Right.
start there. If what you want to be is a heart surgeon, well, yeah, you got to go to college, right?
Right.
If what you want to be, or like check out what about trades? These
Mhm.
jobs that AI is not going to be able to replace. Like these are going to become some really valuable, they're already valuable jobs like plumbers, electricians, things like that. Like we're talking about how AI can do so much stuff now. They're never going to be able to unclog your toilet. So,
Right. Right. Well, if
anyways,
they do, that's the end of the world. Welcome. You might
yeah,
as well welcome Skynet into your
when the
house.
smart house has become self-aware, yeah,
Right,
it's over.
right,
Just rapture me at that point. I have no
right.
interest in surviving the apocalypse. Just take me.
Exactly. Welcome your computer overlords. Is that pretty
Yeah.
much if they're clocking your toilet, they pretty much run the world at that point. It's over.
Yeah.
It's done
But
data.
it's all about, so yeah, like what do you want to be? Are you wanting to be an engineer? Yeah, you go to school, and maybe if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, then yeah, probably what medical school, what law school might have an impact on the kinds of jobs you have available to you
Right.
when you get out of school. But if you want to be, I don't know, like I majored in political science. If you want to be a poli sci major and not do shit with your degree after you graduate, go to state school like I did.
Right, right, right. Well, because I think that there's a point too where, you know, you people I go to college to find myself, but all you'll find there is debt. You don't want to graduate with a $100,000 bar tab. At the same time, going to school does have its advantages. When you go to college, what you're showing your prospective employer is that over the course of 4 years, I was given tasks. I was able to complete those tasks at a satisfactory or above satisfactory level, and which will be indicative of your GPA. And if you have jobs or whatever, I was able to multitask or take care of many different assignments. That's pretty much what a college degree tells the prospective job person, because there are very few careers that you're going to get that you're going to learn everything you need to learn in school. So you're going to have to go to the job and get some on the job training anyway.
Sure.
But it really comes down to, before you go out and go broke or you go out and overextend yourself to pursue a college career, it really helps if you know, or at least have some idea, what it is you're trying to pursue. Don't just go because that's what your parents think you should do, or what society tells you. Because we also have to realize that I'm at a generation where people have insisted that you go get your education. I have a few degrees. My brother has a few degrees and masters and all that.
Mhm.
So we went to college and we did all that, but we did a lot of that inspired by the fact that our parents always held that you have to do this if you want to get a good position, because that's what you had to do historically. But that's not necessarily the case now. So
Mhm.
you just have to kind of figure out where it is you want to be, because
Mhm.
I find that usually what happens. Like, the older generations will always kind of tell you from their perspective, when they were your age, how the world worked. Like, there are
Mhm.
people who, when I was your age, I moved out of my house at 17. I went to New York City and I found an apartment and I rented that apartment. It was a 1-bedroom apartment for $300 a month. That apartment does not exist in New York City.
No.
It doesn't exist nowhere near my town.
No.
If you have $300, you have $300. You don't have rent money.
No.
so so it's just a different mindset, because it was a different time, and we just have
Mhm.
to update our thinking. So
Yeah.
just
I think someone had made a comment like a while back, but that the kids should be in on the conversation, like
mhm.
talking about, as opposed to parents dictating their desires onto their kids about what they should do, where they should go, and things like that. It should be a collaboration. And I absolutely agree with that.
Right. Well, you know what I find, that the funniest thing is that, and this is something that I try to tell my kids, is that if you find something that you're passionate about, then I don't have to sit here and fight you to study it or read about it, or whatever the case may be. The thing that you would sit and do for free, the thing that you might even pay to do it, then
Mhm.
that might be the thing that you're drawn to and the thing that you're called to do. But if I have to sit here and say you're going to go to college and you're going to get a degree in physics, and you have to beat yourself over the head to sit down and even read one paragraph of a textbook, then that might not be for you, because you don't have any passion for it. And if you don't have any passion for it, it will show up when you go for your job. What did you have to
For,
say?
for some reason, that just popped into my mind. Then I think it's the Netflix documentary, What Jennifer Did. And this was a girl, I think she was in Canada. Her parents were immigrants, I think from Vietnam, but I could be wrong with where they immigrated from. But, anyways, very education focused in her house. She started dating a guy her parents didn't like, and so she ends up, I don't think she graduated high school, and then she ends up faking going to college.
Mm,
But she puts so much effort into like doctoring like documents and all this stuff to convince her parents that, like, it was like she clearly had a talent for something. Anyway, she ends up like orchestrating like the murder of her mom and attempted murder of her dad. So, anyways,
mm.
yeah. But like, she showed that she had this, she really wanted to not go to college so bad. She actually showed that she was super dedicated to doing something.
Commitment. So she's an artist, apparently. I can
Right.
be a
Yeah. Like,
document forger.
she can Photoshop with the best of them.
Right. See, she
Yeah.
might she might add a job in IT, or the and in computer sciences.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
ironically, she had because apparently you got a flair for it. If you faking and forging documents, yeah, I mean, that's a skill.
And she
Yeah,
was forging like her notes and stuff. It was like you're basically studying at that point.
right, right. Well, there's a story time. There was
Woo!
a young lady I knew when I was a young man. He was a daughter of a friend of my parents. And I'm not gonna holler your name out in case you watch it, Hurricane. We call her Hurricane. But she went to school and she had her like she went the first semester she attended. Then while she was down there at school, she convinced her parents to move her into an apartment off campus. So they rented her apartment and she stayed down there year round. And the whole time she's telling the parents, yeah, I'm in school, I'm having a great time, blah, blah, blah. School's wonderful, my grades are good, blah, blah, blah. And the dad was paying the tuition upfront cash money. Boom, boom, boom. Just paying the money right to the school. And it turned out she was down there for about 2 years before she turned up pregnant because her boyfriend moved in with her. She turned up pregnant. She came back. Come to find out, she had only attended one semester of this school. And what happened was, and a lot of parents don't understand, is that when you send your child to school because they're 18, if you pay the tuition and there's any type of refund, that refund goes to them. It doesn't come to you, the parent. It goes to them. So basically, she was getting a check that the father would send to the school.
Oh,
And yeah. And so he had, I'll never forget it. My man, my uncle. We call him my uncle, but we go down to his, go over his house, that beautiful house. You go down into his, little man cave area, and he had a bar, and over the bar was like an empty space. Like he had all this like collectibles and memorabilia, degrees and diplomas and stuff hanging on his walls, and he had a big empty space, like right in the middle. And you're like, what's that? And he'd say, "Oh, that's where that damn degree is supposed to be hanging that I paid for." Yeah, but yeah. So like you said, there are people who will put a lot of effort into not wanting to go to school because school might not necessarily be for them. Like she's doing well now, but it was a shocker. Like I had never heard anything like that when I was a kid.
yeah, and there's a certain aspect of college is such a great experience in the
Mm,
sense that like it's kind of like a launching pad or a stepping stone into adulthood for a lot of kids. It's like they get that sense of independence without being like completely thrown to the wolves. So
right, right,
it's kind of this like middle ground, and then there's of course like the social aspect of school that's like a positive, could be a negative depending. I mean, for me, I probably spent too much time on the social, not enough time on the academic, but
right.
so there's a lot of other benefits to college aside from just pure academia. But what I loved about Logan is that he is so pragmatic when his entire family, even Janelle, is not.
Right, right. Well, because even with that, like I like the idea of the college being an adult starter pack, basically.
Yeah.
But if you have kids that go to school, I would recommend strongly. There's actually a documentary that I recommend to everybody called Maxed Out. And it talks about Maxed Out is a documentary. It's actually on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
Okay.
Um, and they talk about debt and how credit works, especially for young people, because there are young people who get involved. Back in the day when I was in school, you could be a college student, freshman, little work study job making like $50 a week. You know what I mean? And outside during the time, like first week of orientation, they would have tables lined up with credit card companies. You just go fill out an application. They give you like a t-shirt, hat, beer koozie, or whatever, frisbee, and you can sign up and get these credit cards. And somehow you would qualify for credit cards with no job and no way to pay these cards back, and they would get you in debt. And it's a psychological thing. And during the course of the documentary, they talk about students who would sign up for these credit cards, find themselves in significant credit card debt, and then unfortunately there were at least 3 or 4 students as well as a couple adults who wound up making that ultimate decision going the wrong way because they were so deep in debt. You know what I mean? So it's always healthy to talk to your kids about responsible credit and responsible use of debt in order to try to assuage them from like any type of uh uh credit, you know, where they try to
Mhm.
take advantage of you.
That's
I don't know if they still do that, but yeah, it was bad. It was
no,
bad.
that's smart. That's really smart. I'm gonna go look that documentary up because I absolutely would love for like my kids to see that because they don't teach you like
No.
I always see this one meme that circulates like Facebook and Instagram, and it was like, nobody taught me how to do my taxes in school, but I sure learned how to do the four square or like or square dance or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, right, like where are our priorities?
Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things that they should teach, I think, in school.
Yes, absolutely. Especially because there is predatory lending in the United States, and like what you were talking about. I that is shocking to me that like there would just be like booths
Oh
and it's
yeah.
like here's a t-shirt, sign up for the,
Right.
because someone like me, 18-year-old Sarah would have been like, sign me up.
Free money. And the next thing you know, because they would have people like and that's the weird thing about credit cards. You would go broke buying pizzas and beer and like just dumb stuff. And
Yeah.
you'll run that credit card up. And the
Yeah.
ironic part is you could have a full-time job, especially back then, you could have a full-time job. You're not in college, you working 40, 50 hours a week, and they won't give you a credit card. But if you go to college, they give you a damn credit card for free. Big shout out to Deborah, $5 super chat. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I've got to go. Love to always night. Have a great night. Let me give you a little thank you. Where's my good stuff at? I'm gonna give you a good one. And then I also have one more from back to my Hassan. 999 super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. And I want to give you a little something. You guys are awesome. Oh, YouTube is my time machine. I got one too. Hold on a second. YouTube is my time machine. Hey James, will you be going live again after the new episodes like before? Yes, I will. And thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Yeah, I'm going crazy this year. We're gonna talk about it. And I will be opening up the phone lines so you guys be able to jump in. So make sure you have your stuff ready. And you can
Oh,
come and
wow. That
join.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Good times had by all, you know. But I'm gonna give you something too. Let's all right. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, but I'm sorry. But the a lot of those a lot of what they talk about in that particular thing, one of the things that really stuck with me, just to close it out about that maxed out is the name of the documentary, Maxed Out. One of the things that really stuck to me was that Elizabeth Warren, when she was a professor, she went and did a presentation in front of the Citibank group, and they were talking about credit cards and how you'd be able to save so much money if you vetted your clientele. That way you could eliminate late charges, late fees, et cetera. And one of the big bosses at the time looked at her and said, well, if we eliminated all the people who can't pay us back, that's our profit. That's where we make our money, because they make all their money on late fees,
Interest rate.
fees and interest. That's where they make their money. So when you run your card up and you don't pay it off, they charge you and they make money. When you're late, like a day or two, because you don't pay them on time, all of a sudden you got a minimum payment of $20. You're late, and now you owe them $40 on top of 20 that you missed. So they just keep running you up, and that's where they don't want people who could pay them back. They want people who can't pay them back, and that's one of the things that they talk about. Maxed Out. Maxed Out is a great documentary.
I will definitely check it out. Thanks for the tip, James.
Yeah. Show my kids. I made them watch it, and they weren't happy, but they watched it.
You know what? Coming from someone that I don't know how to do my taxes. I never learned. I pay a lot of money to H&R Block every year to handle that. it would behoove us to educate our children. So I think that is
Mm.
excellent.
Yeah, save them some money, time, and most definitely some frustration
I
because
learned the Pythagorean theorem, but I never learned about a balance sheet.
yeah,
So
right. How to
yeah.
write a check.
Yeah.
How do you write a check? Um, but just closing out this whole like sister wives panel. Um, one of the things that they had talked about, of course, Cody and family were receiving questions, and these were kind of softballish questions. I think why people get angry about polygamy. Christine, she made a big production about people get angry about polygamy because they don't understand it. They don't understand who we are, what we're about, and what we're trying to do. And then, of course, she brings up the whole notion of Warren Jeffs yet again. uh this kind of falls into, even with the panels, and you can give me your thoughts on it. When I watch them do the panels, or they have these supposedly open discussions, it always strikes me as the polygamy propaganda portion of this program,
Mhm.
because they never have the hard questions asked of them. Like, if, okay, what happens when you get divorced? you know the Cody will say, as he said in that next panel that they did at UNLV, if we get divorced, I'm going to take them because nobody's a prisoner here, and I'm going to pay for them to have a house. But that's all about what you want to do. What guidelines do they have that the women have to receive a house or a car or some kind of stipend or something to demonstrate the amount of time, energy, and effort that they've invested in the family?
Mhm.
Where's that at? You know what I mean? I want to hear that discussion or those questions posed to the family if they're going to answer anything. But what were your thoughts about, like, I guess the whole approach
Well,
of the way he did the questioning?
I feel like Cody and Robin and the sister wives, they really latch on to it's almost like this sleight of hand, this diversion. Like, don't look at what we're doing over here because we're not Warren Jeffs. Let's talk about how bad Warren Jeffs are. But
Right,
like,
right.
what we're trying to know is about your family. Are you
Hmm.
guys happy? Is there mistreatment happening? But okay, so you're not like marrying and impregnating 12-year-olds. Okay, we got it. You're not Warren
Right.
Jeffs.
Very
Uh,
good.
but like,
Yeah.
you can still be like messed up on your own,
Right.
and that it was definitely calculated in my opinion.
Right. Right. And you know what? And that's I like how you said that. It's calculated, because what we see later on isn't child brides and forced marriages. We don't see that in seasons 16 and 17 of Sister Wives. What we do see is a man who's desperately trying to hold on to his wives and will do anything, including up to and including manipulate, lie, deceive, and be downright deceitful about these women leaving and their ability to leave. And if they do leave, whether they can take their children with them, where they can go, whether they have freedom of movement, how far
Mhm.
they go, how far you can move. These are some of the things that we saw from the Brown family. Now, again, you guys aren't Warren Jeffs, but this is still pretty bad. This is still pretty bad.
Right. It's like, okay, you're not Charles Manson, but you're still robbing banks. So
Right,
like,
right,
can we say that that's still not cool or
right,
whatever?
right, right, right. That this is not okay. This is not a
Yeah,
safe
like,
space.
thank you. Glad you're not Charles Manson. But
Right,
what we're here to talk about is the whole bank robbing thing.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. And why it's not a good practice. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
And then what is it? Robin's criticism of Jeff, because Robin had to jump in there and give her 2 cents so she could squeeze some tears out in front of the
Well,
crowd to show how moved she was about the whole thing. So Robin's criticism of Jeff's used his religious position to abuse his wives, and when she said that, to me, the first thing that stuck out to me was when using a position of religion or a tenet of religion to abuse or control your wives or the women who are involved in these relationships. What stuck out to me was in season 17 when Robin sat there and said that Christine could not leave. and she wasn't officially divorced until she took another man and she went to the elders in the church and asked for permission to leave.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're using the tenets of your faith to control the women in these relationships. So again, I asked the question: what's the difference between you and Warren Jeffs, really? Like, aside from
Exactly.
the child bride thing, but so what did you think about that?
No, I completely agree. And again, it's like Robin is trying to distract from what the actual conversation that people want to have, which is about their family structure. But she's over here crying about Warren Jeffs. It's like, girl, nobody's here to talk about Warren Jeffs. Like, he's in jail. That's cool.
Right.
Like, we're here to talk about, like, if there's any shenanigans going on in this family.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think that's actually with the Warren Jeffs thing, because somebody at the end of the panel had mentioned that they fully expected them to come out with the Prairie Little House on the Prairie cosplay, like where they come out with
Yeah.
the FLDS costume, no, well, dress or whatever garb. And it occurred to me that you guys hide behind the fact that they are the way they are, and you present yourself as different. So I'm different. I'm not like them. I'm normal. And what makes the sister wives polygamy portion of this program so insidious is that you do appear to be normal. You do appear to be like everybody else.
Mhm.
And at least with the Jeffs crowd, be like, okay, well, unless I think that that's a good fashion choice, there's no chance I'm joining that organization. But if you present yourself as something that's inviting and welcoming, and you too could be like me, then it becomes a little more insidious, especially if it's not done properly
Yeah.
and it's not done
The
equitably.
Browns were a wolf in sheep's clothing, or whatever that analogy is.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because they presented themselves well. Like, you even had a couple people in there like, this seems like so much fun. Like, you get to be strong and independent, get to do what you want, and the women get to live their lives. And one of the last things that I'll point out is that at some point during the conversation, of course, somebody asked the question about polyandry again to Cody and talking about additional husbands. Of course, Cody finds it abrasive that they're asking these questions. Why would they keep asking me that? I thought you were open minded, but you're insulted that they would ask you about multiple husband situations.
Right.
And then, of course, the ladies start chiming in with, well, who really wants that? Who really wants to have a whole bunch of guys? Because guys are a ton of work and they're hard to deal with. And that's what the ladies said. But that's kind of what the first woman who stood up and said to Cody, like, women are a ton of work. Hell, that's what I say. That's why I wouldn't do polygamy, because it would be a crap ton of work. Like, it would be insane how hard it would be
I
to
think
try
my
to keep up with
husband
that
would
many
echo
people.
that same sentiment.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Maybe
anybody
maybe
would.
if his first wife was not me, and maybe she was more chill, or maybe more Janelle like, I don't know.
Right, right.
But certainly not me. I'm very high demanding.
Right, right. Like, I want my time. And I think that most people are that way.
And
It,
not just like I want my time, but it's like, okay, oh, you're here telling us how great it is to be independent, but all we saw was Christine, 9 months pregnant, fixing her washer and dryer because Cody's nowhere to be found. Like,
right.
tell me how this is so beneficial. It seems like you're doing twice as much work because you get literally abandoned by your
Mhm.
significant other.
Right. And you know what's weird too is that because even in hand with that, Christine had always taken a position, especially in the book, Sister Wives, Becoming Sister Wives book. She had taken a position and she never wanted to be the first wife because she thought it was going to be too demanding to be tied to a man that way. Right. To have to serve his, him always kind of be underfoot and him always being around. And she didn't know about that. But I just recently saw an interview with her and she was talking about her relationship with David.
Hmm.
And apparently Christine has had a change of opinion because she said that there are times when I'll come to him and I'll be like, I got to go do something. And he'll say, okay, yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and do that. And she's like, no, I'd rather do it with you. I'd rather spend time with you. And I think that that's a subtle difference that when younger Christine really didn't grasp or understand is that it's not that when you find somebody you want to be with, it's not that you're forced to be around them all the time or,
Right.
you're compelled. It's just that you want to be around. You want to hang out. You want their opinion. When you go see something, one of the more tragic things that I've heard from folks who have lost spouses isn't the fact that they just lost their spouse, but it'll be the little things that get to them. Something new will happen, and the first thing they want to do is go back and tell their
Yeah.
best friend, and
Yeah.
that person isn't there anymore.
Yep.
And so I think that that's the thing that the sister wives, because when she said this about like not wanting to have a guy who's around all the time, she wasn't 15, 16 years old when she said that. She was in her 30s or 40s actually when she
Yeah.
said that. She was in her 40s talking about she doesn't want to be around a man, and she didn't understand how relationships work. And then that's mostly because this is what she was tied up into in the polygamist institution, and it normalized the fact that men just aren't around for you. And like
Mhm.
you said, you're 9 months pregnant trying to figure out how you're gonna fix a washer by yourself.
Right.
You know, it's unfortunate. But yeah, so did you have any of course, Cody, he said, just close this out, and then I'll open the floor for you to give me your final thoughts on it. But Cody said this, and I thought that this aged exactly like rotten milk on a Sunday morning in the middle of 90-degree heat. It said a heat wave. He said, the choice of who you marry will determine 90% of your happiness. And this is what he said back then. And I think you've seen like the new trailer that they were running where they said like marriage, and he said like the source of all happiness and misery, or source of all happiness and hurt or pain, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So what did you think about that, and or maybe that comment, or even the panel as a whole, like how it was presented?
Well, I think it was eerily prophetic because the choice of who you marry, but it seems like it was really that last marriage that dictated
Mhm.
his happiness. Because he
Right.
seemed, maybe he wasn't, head over heels or whatever, like shoot for the stars, World Series kind of love or whatever, but you can tell like the first several seasons, like Cody is a happy guy. At least he seems like a happy guy. These later seasons where it's like just him and Robin, he doesn't seem happy. I don't know.
Right, right, and I agree with that. And
Mhm.
actually, that's actually one of the things I talk about in the video I just put out a little
Mhm.
bit ago. Guys, go check that out. But the video I put out, that's one of the things I talked about. Is I think that when Robin came into the family, this is kind of I guess, a little preview of what I said for those who haven't seen it. But when Robin came into the family, she came into the family as a victim,
Yeah.
and she rode the victimhood of my previous marriage and my previous relationship was so terrible. You guys have to feel sorry for me. And then after she incorporated herself in the Brown family, it was everybody's always picking on me. The kids don't want me. I'm not being accepted. Nobody's accepting my kids. Boo hoo hoo hoo. Everybody feel bad for me. And by doing that, when Cody attaches himself to her, and I even cite this as my example in that video, that you'll have friends. Like everybody's had that friend who maybe became friends with somebody else, and you can tell they really like them, or they're attracted to them, or they just really admire this person. And then all of
Mhm.
a sudden, little personality changes start to happen where they actually start to become that other person. You know what I mean? They start to emulate that other person. And I
Yeah.
think that you start pick up their character traits. And I think that that's exactly what happened with Cody. I think Cody just started picking up a lot of the character traits because he spent so much time with Robin's ass that he started to pick up her character traits where everybody is, he's a victim from everybody and everybody's picking on him. And he started to get paranoid because he started to see enemies everywhere he looked because everybody was coming after him and mistreating him. And he fell deeper and deeper into that. And as he fell deeper into that, he became a different person. So when the women talk about he's not the same guy that I knew years ago, I believe them. Like I think that
Yeah.
he's just merely a mirror reflection of Robin, the person he's spending so much time with.
That's an
And
excellent
you know,
observation, James. I
oh,
think you're
thank you.
dead on, dead on.
Yeah, because I see a lot of the stuff that she says and a lot of the stuff that she does, and what he's saying now and the way he comes off now is totally different than how he came off in the first few seasons. But he's always trying to find a way that somehow he's the victim, somehow it's somebody else's fault, and somehow he's been wronged, and somehow, if you guys all realize how badly I've been treated, you'll realize that I'm a good person, and everything is begging for that attention,
Mhm.
and it's just, and like I said in the video too, when push them down and shove, I think part of the problem that they have is nobody really likes somebody who sit around and feel sorry for themselves all the time. Even people who sit around feel sorry for themselves all the time.
Yeah.
you know. But what were your thoughts about the panel or this whole episode?
Oh, I love an episode that heavily features the kids, especially at this age. Like Logan's getting ready to go off to college, and the kids are talking about like if they would consider polygamy, and it,
Mm.
I love seeing all that. And then of course it's really hysterical and sad to see like we were talking about before, like taking what they say and then just like comparing it to the receipts of like their actions, like proving otherwise. It's like, all right.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, you talk that good talk. You was talking
Yeah.
that sweet shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But
But
overall, great episode. Season 3 is a good season.
right, right. And this
Yeah.
is what, like right that sweet spot where they're still popular and they're still kind of popping a little bit. And it's
Yeah.
not as much pressure because they didn't get the we're gonna cancel you threat yet. So that's
Yeah, and it's
still
like it's still new, so they're
right,
still like trying to like convince the public, but they're established, like we know who they are. So it's and we're starting to feature the kids, and then of course the kids are like, we don't want any part of this, and they quickly dip out. But like this is a good season. We see so much of Logan, and I love
right,
Logan.
right. Yeah, I guess between 3 and 4, there's a lot of looking. 3, 4, and 5. I want to
Yeah.
say like the early parts of 5.
Yeah.
But like you, like I really appreciate the kids because the kids I think give a more honest window as to what's going on. Because one of the things that I neglected to mention earlier was when Aspen was asked about whether she wanted to participate in polygamy or not, she said something that I thought was very telling, especially coming from Christine's household, who is struggling with polygamy, but she pretends like polygamy is the greatest thing since sliced bread. She said, when asked, are you going to participate in polygamy? She said, no, I want something easy. I think that polygamy is too hard.
Yeah.
And I think that like you said with the kids, they have that sense of honesty and that just genuine nature that I think really shines through and is makes them a pleasure to watch. Oh, we
Yep.
got another super chart.
Thank you.
Oh, from homegirl Buggus. What's up, Buggus? I haven't seen you in a bit. Super sticker. Buggus in the house. All right. We get you a little something, something, Buggus. Thank you so much for the super
Thank
sticker.
you.
Yeah, but yeah, so do you have anything coming up or anything that we should all be looking forward to coming up this week?
I'll have just regular videos coming out. What do you have?
Same deal. I got some regular videos coming out. I've made concerted efforts to try to make arrangements to get my new channel kicked off. So I will be dropping new videos on that as well. And
Awesome.
I'll be putting links in my description on my regular page, which is my take on reality, so that people will be able to find the videos because that channel is so small that it might get lost in the algorithms.
No.
But yeah, so I'm just right now, I'm just trying to get ready, trying to at least, and I think you're probably doing the same thing, trying to get everything normalized so that way I'll be able to have enough time to be able to do everything I need to do to be able to get videos popping for the next season coming up,
Yeah.
because it should be a wild one. And I hope, well, I don't know. I guess maybe this is selfish of me and you can give me your thoughts on it before we close out. I'm kind of hoping they start this season off kind of how they started last season off. Because instead of doing like the slow, dreary ass build up for the last couple seasons, the openers were crazy. Like
Yeah.
in 17, they had Christine basically telling Cody, I don't want your ass no more, and I'm leaving, I'm divorcing you, it's done.
Yeah.
And the breakup. In season 18, you had Christine and Cody sitting at Bravo. What's
Yeah.
that
Salsa
restaurant?
Brava.
Yeah, was it
Salsa Brava. I think
Salsa
it's,
Bravo?
yeah.
Yeah, if I go out to Arizona, guys, have a plate ready for me because I'm swinging through. Okay. Uh, I might not go through Cody Pass. I call it Cody Pass because he's trying to take the land. But might not go through Cody Pass or drive by the McMansion, but I'll definitely stop through Salsa Brava. But
You don't go to the public establishments.
right. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna bust a grub, and I'm gonna watch the Brown family relationships dissolve in booth 6.
Yeah. Who knows? One might stop in and then you'll get your opportunity to
Right, start pounding questions. You'll see me on Facebook Live, IG, or something. Cody, let me ask you a question, sucker. But it'll be awesome. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get that popping, and they'll have something interesting in the first couple episodes for us to talk to and really sink our teeth in and really get into the geared up for the season, because this season could be wild or it could be pretty lame. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, there's always the episodes that kind of feel like filler, but I think it's going to be a good season.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one. Especially as soon as Janelle dropped I might have to get an attorney. Sip.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yes. Please.
Yeah, right. I wish I had my praise video that I could put on there.
Yeah.
Because every time I say it, I want to just put the praise video. But thank you guys so much for coming out. Before we go, I want to make sure we give a huge shout out to our moderators. I believe I had J Baby in, and I had I think Lizzie B. She's on vacation. So it's just J Baby for me. I saw B Cat K.
B
And
Cat. Is Sarcasm here? I'm not 100% sure. I know for sure B Cat is here.
okay.
But thank you to all of our moderators, always keeping it on lock for us.
Right. And thank you for the chat, for keeping it super chill in the chat box. I'm sorry I didn't get to post a lot of this stuff in the thing, but we got so wrapped up in conversation.
Yeah.
I got lost in the combo.
And everyone, get your rest, get your snacks in order, because a week from today, we're going to be talking season 19.
Right. Season 19, Sister Lives, is going to be off the hook.
Yeah.
It should be a good time. Oh yeah, and come and join me for the after show after the show
on Sunday after the episode, right, James?
Yep, I want to have it popping. Yeah. We're gonna be talking about it. Phone lines will be open, so make sure you be ready for that. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. It's been a wonderful time in talking to you guys, having fun. Make sure you check us out next week. We will be right back here at the same bat time, same Sister Lives channel. So come check us out. Thanks so much. Have a great night. I'm James. This is Sarah, and we are out.